Welcome to another edition of 805 Sports Talk. Finally, all four of us are here. Usually during the summer we try to find some time off, and Kenny found a little bit of vacation, so did I. But this week we're all here, and we're still covering youth baseball. It's been a long summer filled with baseball, and a number of area teams are still going on, and one area team was just eliminated on Sunday. Santa Maria Westside had a great run at District 65. Started out great at Section 1 over there in Moore Park, and we're in the championship round, just a game away from moving on to the next round. But Santa Maria Westside came up short, losing to Goleta Valley South twice over the weekend. So Kenny, I'll go with you first. Do you think Santa Maria Westside is going to feel a little bit like they had a chance to move on? Do you think they played up to their potential? How do you think they're feeling right now?
I'm thinking they probably felt like they had a decent chance to move on. I mean, honestly, they were in the driver's seat. They had to win once. Goleta Valley South came up to the losers bracket, and they won 3 in a row. When they lost the first game, Goleta South, to be honest, it was a rout. It was 77. The second loss, it was 5-3. Sounds like it was a good, well-played game. Goleta South came out a little ahead. Westside had a fine run. Yes, they probably did feel that they came up a little short because they were one game away from moving on. But I think they probably took some satisfaction in the run that they did have, though. A District 65 championship, and they did win twice in the sectional tournament.
I talked to the president of Westside Little League, David Garcia, and he said that they're proud of them. They beat Goleta Valley South in the first game of the tournament and thought they could beat them again. And just came up a little short, but they're all proud of the kids. And they took them out and celebrated after they lost and made sure that all the kids know that they had a great season. And they had a great season. They just came up a little bit short. But the coaches made sure that all the kids knew how well they had done, and took them out for a party. So they're young kids, they'll get over it, and they vow to be back again next year.
Yeah, I had a chance to see them play at District 65 a couple of times. That team was really, really solid. Probably one of the better teams that I've seen on the Little League level in a while. Bo Garcia was a great pitcher. Richie Robles, I don't want to jump the gun, but he was probably the best Little Leaguer I've seen maybe since Jaden Libertis. So Richie Robles was a stud. They had Matthew Rivas was really good. That team was really stacked. They pretty much dominated over there at District 65. Though they did slip up against AG, and they were right there in Section 1 from moving on. So they have a lot to be proud about. They did beat Goleta Valley South in that first game, and then lost 2 over the weekend. But they were right there. They easily could have moved on. So they have nothing to be ashamed about.
I thought they were one of the better District 65 champion teams that I've seen.
Yeah, over the years, yeah. But Bo Garcia, you mentioned him. He was the starting pitcher in that last game. He had a home run to put him up 1-0 early in the game, second inning, I think it was. But the rules ended up working against the West Side because Garcia hit the pitch limit, and they had to remove him, and that's when the Goleta Valley South scored the go-ahead runs. It was 2-2, I think, when Garcia had to come out of the game. So the pitch count was not in their favor, but rules are rules, and they had to remove him. You can only go so far at that level. They don't want the kids to be hurt. So things changed after he came out of off the mound.
Mm-hmm. And it always seems that Goleta Valley South teams finds a way to trip up our area teams. I've noticed a number of times it's that Goleta Valley South, something they're doing over there is right, because they're always, usually winning their district. I think they're in District 63, and they always kind of advance and find a way to kind of knock off our teams, or at least give the teams from the area of Santa Maria Valley some trouble, and that's what happened this year. But we do have some teams on the Babe Ruth side still playing. LA even following Orchid very closely. They're still playing. They're going to Surprise, Arizona. Can you kind of fill us in? What are the chances looking like? How are they shaping up? How have they been able to get this far?
Well, Orchid's Babe Ruth 14-year-old team is essentially the same as last year's Babe Ruth 13-year-old team. They have 8 of the 11 players. They had 12, but they lost one. So 8 of the 11 are back again for a second season. And they made it to surprise Arizona last year. They won their opening game, lost their second, won a couple, and then got beat by Tri-Valley in the double elimination game. Tri-Valley's Northern California. They were looking forward to playing Tri-Valley again this year, but Tri-Valley got beat in its own regional finals. So Bel Mateo is going to be the team from Northern California that is in the 14-year-old tournament. And Hawaii is coming back, and they made friends with Hawaii. They lost their first game last year to Hawaii. And so the coaches made friends with the Hawaii coaches and players, and that is also a very similar team, with half of that team coming back from the 13-year-old tournament. So they say that this year they want to play Hawaii again, and hopefully they'll beat them. So what's going to happen, though, is they're going to have to win their first round game, and that is against the Northern California champions. That's next Monday and on the 24th, and that is the Bel Mateo team. And they play what is called the Surprise Recreation Campus, but that's also the spring training home of the Kansas City Royals and Texas Rangers. And the kids that have been there, you know, I've talked to all of these kids. They've got like 6 of their 11 kids can pitch, and they work on the pitching technique and the theory of pitching. You know, they have Bryn Smith, of course, a 13-year major league pitcher who's been giving them tips on how to throw the ball. You don't have to throw 100 miles an hour to get the other team out. And their head coach, their manager, is James Steels, who had a major league career with several teams. So they've got some really good coaching. So they're really excited about it. They think they can beat Bel Mateo in the first round. They know that they've scouted them a little bit, that Bel Mateo has really good pitching, but they're confident in their hitting abilities. And if they can win that game and Hawaii can win its first game, then in the second round, again, they would meet Hawaii. And they're looking forward to getting some revenge against both the Northern California squad, although it's a different Northern California squad. But now they've got 8 of the 11 kids are back, so they know what kind of fields, the best fields they've seen in their lives. They know what the pressure is like. They know that the crowds will increase and what the crowds are going to be like. They know what it's like to be staying in a hotel for the weekend. They know the area, so they've got favorite places they're going to go when they're not playing games. They've already scouted out the batting cages. They know where they're going to go practice. So it's not going to be the overwhelming kind of awe that you get the first time you're playing on like the Kansas City Royals or Texas Rangers fields. I mean, these are manicured. They make significant improvements to Morrison Field where Orchid plays. But it's still not going to be major league quality, and they're going to go out there and they have major league fences. So in some of these parks where kids hit home runs, they'll only be fly balls, but it also means the outfielders are going to have to cover more ground. So they've been working hard with every aspect of the game. I've been out to several of their practices since they won the Central California Championship, and defense. They're going over everything, and everybody plays multiple positions, so that if they need a shortstop, they don't have to worry, oh, who's going to go in because our shortstop is injured. They got somebody that can step in. They got a third guy that can step in. They got, like I said, 6 guys that can pitch, so they can watch the pitch counts, and if they can get a lead, they can pull a pitcher to save his pitch count for the next game. So, I mean, there's a lot of strategy going into this, but they think they're prepared, and they sure look like it. So, you know, they've been here before, and they want to go one step further this time around.
Yeah, Lorenzo, you've been doing a great job covering, you know, the Lompoc 15-year-olds. Can you kind of fill us in? What's up with them? I think they kind of breezed through their Central Cal tournament, and now they're going to Tahoe. Can you kind of give us an update on how Lompoc 15s are looking?
Yeah, and you know, I was really impressed with how they performed, not only in that heat, but just the level of talent, that playing field. I mean, being in the Central Valley, especially during my time over there, I know how passionate and how deep in talent those baseball teams out in Hanford really are. But, you know, Lompoc breezed by. I mean, no losses throughout the whole tournament. And I also want to tip my hat to Reedley, because I know we're going to get into Noah Scott in a little bit, but they actually paid tribute to Scott by announcing his name on the all-tournament team, which I thought was a very polite gesture. And crazy thing is that it was 2 years ago when Reedley and Lompoc played right here at George Meyer Field, and there was kind of a heated dispute in that game, and Reedley wound up winning, but they made amends. and Lompoc ended up, I mean, just putting the city of Lompoc on its back and also honoring Noah Scott in the process. I mean, guys like Oscar Rojas, Cesar Frosto, Matt Gonzalez, I could go on and on, Nick Ajedo as well.
Yeah, I had a chance to see those guys when they were playing at Elks, so definitely a talented team, and that was really great what you said about Reedley, what they did for Noah Scott, and I saw some of that at Elks Field when they were playing here. Once Lompoc won that tournament, there's a lot of people were supporting Noah Scott. You heard a lot of that, and even Santa Maria Babe Ruth, which hosted that tournament, split their 50-50, an unclaimed 50-50 on the last day, and gave it to Lompoc for them to make their trip to Reedley. So you kind of see a lot of that, these different baseball organizations kind of supporting each other in Reedley, and then Santa Maria supporting Lompoc a little bit. It was just kind of a kind gesture that a lot of these guys are doing. So it's a good thing to see these guys compete so hard, but they still support each other. So that's been great to see. That throughout the summer, and we'll see how these teams do over the next couple of days and weeks. I think they all start Monday. I think Lompoc starts Monday over there in Tahoe, so we'll definitely be following that. You did a great job following them in Reedley, and we'll have Orchids updates as well from Arizona. We have a local team going to Arizona, but one local, Louis Quintana Jr., is moving away from Arizona. He was a long time, 16 years in fact, Arizona State head cross country coach, and was an assistant on the track and field teams for about 16 years, but he has taken the head coaching job at Oregon State, so he's going to be running the cross-country teams and be the head coach for track and field. So congratulations to Louis. His dad is the track and field coach at Hancock College. He's been there for about 16 years himself. Louis Quintana Sr. also coached at Rigetti. So Junior grew up in Napomo, starred as a runner at Arroyo Grande High School. He ran under Greg DeKnight, who was a legendary coach in the area who passed away a couple years ago. And Quintana ran at Villanova, I think a 9-time All-American distance runner at Villanova. So he was a great runner. Then went into coaching, and he started coaching at Arizona in the early 2000s, Arizona State, excuse me. Spent 16 years there. I think they won 4 national championships during his time there. He has something like 40-something All-Americans, so now he has his chance to move to Oregon State, and he's the head man there, leading pretty much the whole program, track and field and cross country, both women and men at Oregon State. So he's got a huge task in front of him, getting that program up to national prominence, but he showed he can do it at Arizona State, so it's going to be fun to see what he can do over there at Oregon State, another Pac-12 school. And obviously Oregon kind of runs track and field nationally, so they're going to try to bump heads with them eventually. It's going to be fun to see what Louis Quintana Jr. can do running his own track and field program. So congrats to him, and we published a little story on that in Wednesday's paper. Go online, check that one out. So congrats to him. Moving on to Noah Scott, last week we couldn't do the show because, Lorenzo, you were so busy covering the memorials for Noah Scott, and you went to the pickup baseball game that they held over there in Lompoc. Can you kind of walk us through what you saw last week with the memorials and kind of the outpouring of support overall?
That was the biggest pickup game I've ever seen for baseball. I mean, 50 players all on the same field, but it just goes to show you just how much the community loved and embraced Noah Scott and his family, and they did kind of alter the rules. The older kids had to bat with one hand, and they used those practice muff balls as well, but just a very fun atmosphere that I saw. And another thing to pinpoint, they call it JM Field, but there's a designated area for the umpires. They're going to rename it Noah Scott's Umpire Room, because he was the first junior umpire at the age of 13. And they're going to rename that room after Noah Scott.
Oh, that's great. And that's not all. There's a golf tournament in the works. Can you kind of give us an update on that? I think it's coming up at early August. Are they still looking for golfers? What's going on with the fundraiser?
Yes, so I just saw that there's 40 golfers registered, but they're aiming for 100. So, I mean, they're taking registrations still, and I've been told that a Drew Brees signed football is going to be one of the auction items. There's also something involving Derek Carr as well, maybe an auction item there. But, Andrew Jones and the people who are behind this golf tournament, I mean, they're hunting for golfers. So if anybody's interested, I mean, pull out the sticks and irons.
Yeah, I think that's Friday, August 4th in Lompoc, or in Vandenberg, I think is where they're holding it at the Mission Club. So the Noah Scott Memorial Golf Tournament, Friday, August 4th. If you're looking to, hit the links, hit the course, and support a good cause, that's Friday, August 4th. So be sure to sign up for that if you want to, support Noah Scott and his family. But that's all we got for this week. So I thank you guys once again for tuning in to 805 Sports Talk, and we'll see you next week.